Anime has given us some of the strongest characters of all time. It's almost ridiculous how powerful and strong some characters get, with the nature of a lot of anime focused on accumulating strength. But who are some of the strongest anime characters ever? Let's discuss right now. I always find lists like these hard to navigate. Strongest anime characters of all time means a lot of different things. And sure, in reality, if I was giving a truly accurate list, then this list would be made up entirely of the giant multiversal game changers who can alter reality on a whim. But that version of this list would get repetitive and take away from some pretty strong characters who are incredibly powerful in their own way. So what I'm going to do is start off the list with some strong normal characters, both heroes and villains, and then near the end I'm going to get into the multiversal, universe-altering beings of pure power, okay? Okay, so the first character officially on this list is Saitama, better known as One Punch Man. And wow, is that not one of the all-time best superhero names that informs you of the hero's power? He defeats every single enemy with one punch. No matter if intergalactic warlords come to Earth wanting to conquer it, no matter if it's an insanely strong Earthbound villain, all of them will always be beaten by Saitama in one punch. And that puts Saitama in an interesting category. How do you make a world around him interesting when the whole point of the show is that nothing will ever be a threat to him? Well, I think that's something the first season did amazingly, but I did find my interest waning in the second season. But that doesn't matter. Saitama is one of the most powerful anime characters ever, and although he's played as a bit of a joke, it shouldn't detract from the idea of if any character on this list came into One Punch Man's world, they would probably be destroyed. Goku is one of the most recognizable anime characters in the world. Above all else, it's mostly known that the dude with spiky hair likes to unleash his fury and just fight it out. He's the epitome of the anime character on a quest to get stronger, and Goku will most likely continue to get stronger for the rest of forever. If you track Goku's progression throughout the Dragon Ball franchise, you'll see that they have to keep finding new levels and new heights for Goku to reach. It's the essence of his character that he has to keep getting more powerful. They'll never say, yeah, Goku's done leveling up. Nope, it just doesn't work like that. And overall, I wanted to make things fair. Really, this list could just almost be entirely Dragon Ball characters, but where is the variety in that? Yes, I'll mention one more Dragon Ball character a bit later on in this list who deserves a shout out, but for now, Goku is the face of the Dragon Ball franchise and is one of the strongest anime characters ever. And even if he isn't the strongest in his universe quite yet, I don't doubt that he'll eventually reach an unreachable god status. And then Vegeta, of course, will be just a few steps behind him. Mob from Mob Psycho 100 is a lot like Saitama, which shouldn't be that surprising since they share a creator. Mob is an incredibly powerful being with almost godlike capabilities, but who doesn't seem all that interested in using his powers. And that's what makes Mob Psycho 100 such a great anime. They really hammer home that yes, while psychic powers can be devastatingly powerful, if you're only good at that one thing in particular, then there's nothing special. Mob is unique in that he's the most powerful being on Earth, and once he reaches 100% thanks to emotional outbursts, he basically explodes. But that also creates a tragic tale. Mob really just wants to have friends and be accepted by others, but in the beginning he can't really do that because he has to suppress his emotions so he doesn't unleash his devastating power. But man, whenever he does reach that level, it's an amazing sight to behold. The world of psychic powers and espers create dazzling visual spectacles in the world of Mob Psycho, and although it's probably bad for the world, I always enjoy seeing Mob unleash his power. I imagine the series is working toward a finale where Mob can both have emotions without causing a path of destruction in his wake. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is certainly, what would you call it? Oh, that's right, bizarre. It features a cast of quirky characters and basically reinvents itself for every adventure, following a different descendant of the Joestar lineage. And a lot of the characters could arguably make this list, but I'm giving the JoJo spots to the protagonist of Part 5 and the overall 5th JoJo, Giorno Giovanna. He was actually the illegitimate son of Dio and was conceived with Jonathan Joestar's stolen body. Yeah, this anime is absolutely wild. But Giorno is a natural-born stand user, and his stand, Gold Experience, is one of the most powerful stands ever. Stands are already arguably unfair when it comes to power levels, but Gold Experience certainly takes the cake after it reaches its full potential. After piercing Gold Experience with the stand arrow, its power levels are amplified, creating Gold Experience Requiem. But what makes this stand so powerful and earns Giorno a spot on this list? Well, it has the ability to revert any action that could harm our hero. So if you try to attack Giorno with something powerful, he can just block it by effectively turning it to zero. A common theme of anime is working to get stronger and reaching the next level, and that potential to be the strongest in the world is probably best represented by Deku in My Hero Academia. When the series started, Deku was just a quirkless individual who could cry with the best of them, but his selflessness caught the eye of the greatest hero, All Might, who then bestowed on him his one-for-all quirk. And the whole series has been about Deku harnessing that ability to become a true hero. And we've seen that Deku is on track to surpass even All Might in recent seasons of the show, with him locking into One for All's deep bench of abilities that Deku is hard at work mastering. He still has a long way to go. I mean, the 5th season still had characters in the first year of the Academy, which is sort of insane when you think about it. But when Deku does finally master this ability, he'll be the most powerful hero ever. Naruto is a series packed with awesome ninja action with a cast of antagonists wielding an incredible array of power. But really the most powerful villain and overall most powerful character is Kaguya. She is the alien mother of the Sage of the Six Paths and was the one who created chakra in the first place. This turned her basically into a god, and her abilities range from flight, telepathy, dimension hopping, chakra absorption, and general regeneration. And she can use her bones as weapons, which automatically makes her one of the most terrifying villains ever. And if she scratches you with these bones, you turn to ash. Brutal. Her ability to use the expansive truth-seeking orb, which can wipe out all of existence, is also not great for our heroes. They don't even really beat her, but rather just steal her away. That's how they beat her twice. And hey, I'm all about finding alternate ways to solve problems. Jujutsu Kaisen is packed with powerful sorcerers, so to stand above them all and take the top spot of most powerful requires some serious skill. That's where Satoru Gojo comes in. He's a grade 1 sorcerer who uses his cursed techniques to mow down almost anyone in his path. Every one of his abilities feels overpowered. I mean, that's the overall advantage of being the first sorcerer in the Gojo family in 400 years to be born with both Limitless and 6 eyes. Both of these combine together to create just an incredibly destructive individual. We're just pretty lucky he used his abilities to eventually become a teacher at Jujutsu High and shaped younger minds, or else we'd really be in trouble. I've hit a lot of the main anime that everyone knows about, but also want to take a little time to highlight some lesser known anime and anime characters. Serial Experiments Lain follows a young girl named Lain in her connection to the Wired, which is a global communications network. With all the internet and especially Twitter focused attention we've been getting lately, I thought it was a perfect time to highlight Lain. So as the series progresses, we learn that Lain isn't exactly human. She's a sentient computer program that's been given a human form to blend into the real world. Her goal is to cut the barrier between the real world and the Wired, and her abilities far surpass almost anyone or anything. She's omnipotent and exists both in the real world and the virtual world simultaneously, and can delete virtual information, which in the Serial Experiments Lain world is vital to everything. Yeah, it's a weird anime, but Lain is powerful. Strongest doesn't necessarily mean physical strength. Yeah, sure, most of the characters on this list are absolute beasts when it comes to fights and can turn your insides into a gooey jelly with one flick of their fingers, but there are other factors that should be considered. That's where Light Yagami from Death Note comes into play. He's an incredibly brilliant kid with an askew moral compass and massive ego, which on its own is already sort of dangerous, but not a big physical threat. But then the most powerful object in the universe lands at his feet, and it grants him the power to become a god. The Death Note allows him to eliminate anyone in the world. Rule 1 is the human whose name is written in the Death Note shall die. Pretty straightforward, right? But you give this object to someone like Light, and he basically is able to mold the world in his image. He becomes a godlike figure known as Kira, and his brilliance allows him to stay one step ahead of the people trying to stop him. Nobody else with the Death Note could have done what Light did, and that's impressive. You know, in a really terrifying way. Out of all the mythological creatures out there, vampires seem like the scariest. Sure, there's the raw brute strength of werewolves, but vampires just operate in this otherworldly category altogether. Anyways, let's talk about Alucard from the Hellsing series. Alucard is the secret weapon of the Hellsing organization and dresses like Carmen Sandiego most of the time. He's the most powerful vampire of them all, and that comes with some major perks. He's insanely strong and fast and comes with an incredible healing ability. Sure, we root for him, but he's also a pretty twisted individual. He often lets his enemies hurt him, only to regenerate instantly in front of them to really freak them out. Yes, he's kept in bounds and restricted a bit thanks to the Hellsing organization, but his true power levels make him one of the strongest anime characters. He's certainly one of the most stylish. Question for you. Would you rather be incredibly physically strong, or would you want unmatched psychic abilities? Yes, I think psychic powers make you overall stronger than physical fighters, but it also has the potential to cut loose and destroy all of existence. That brings me to another powerful psychic user in anime, Tetsuo from Akira. He had massive latent powers that unlocked within him, giving Tetsuo the ability to fly, levitate, produce energy blasts, you know, basic psychic abilities. But Tetsuo does represent the downside of always questing for more power. When I talk about characters like Deku, the hero's search to become stronger is framed as an inspirational thing, but Tetsuo is the opposite. His journey to get even more powerful corrupts him and almost brings about the end of everything. Thankfully, he stopped before he destroys our universe, but it's a scary thought to see how Tetsuo didn't even reach his full potential before being stopped. Alright, now that we're in the back section of the video, I wanted to discuss the godlike beings who can rewrite reality on a whim. One of the strongest, and the first I have to talk about, is the Omni King, aka Zeno. He's the king of all and the god of gods in the Dragon Ball franchise. I mean, can you imagine how powerful you have to be the god of gods? That's insane. It's been said that although there are 12 universes now in the Dragon Ball franchise, originally there were 18, and Zeno destroyed 6 of them because he was in a bad mood. He also looks like a plush toy come to life, so I have such conflicting feelings about him. Repeat after me. Never, ever, ever make a deal with Kyubey in Madoka Magica. I know the cat-like creature seems harmless and it can be quite persistent, but trust me, don't take that deal. Madoka Magica is an all-time great anime for me. Just a fantastic story flipping the normal magical girl arc on its head and becoming much darker and mature than probably a lot of people expected. And that all traces back to Kyubey, who is an incubator determined to turn young girls into magical girls so they can fight witches. Of course, Kyubey's motivations are much darker, and although the monster may not look it, it comes with an insane power level. It really cannot be wiped out and has the ability to grant magical girl capabilities to people, which Kyubey and the incubators use to help keep the entire universe in order. While Zeno and Kyubey are sort of adorable godlike beings who hide a massive amount of power, let's move to the other end of the spectrum and talk about the Truth, who's the godlike being in the Full Metal Alchemist franchise. Yeah, this thing definitely isn't cuddly. It's terrifying with a twisted, demented smile and should make you run the other direction. It's a strange being in that it's not some cosmic deity, but rather is all around us, holding the laws of reality together and enforcing it. You only really meet the Truth when you try to break established rules, like trying to bring someone back from the dead. Full Metal Alchemist is all about fighting against the natural order of things, and the Truth controls it all. Yes, it can be considered cruel, but it abides by the one big law, the law of equivalent exchange. If you want to make something, you have to sacrifice something of equal value. That simple idea is the whole basis of the Truth and makes a terrifying creature that occasionally haunts my nightmares. The anti-spiral is the big bad cosmic entity that our heroes have to beat in Gurren Lagann. The anti-spiral is the leader of the anti-spiral race who share a collective consciousness and wants to prevent the spiral nemesis from being triggered. Gurren Lagann is the very definition of an anime that keeps escalating in power. I mean, our heroes literally start off underground on Earth, and it slowly builds to a massive cosmic battle where characters are chucking galaxies at each other. Wowza. But the main villain is the anti-spiral and is virtually godlike, who has the ability to erase enemies from existence but chooses not to. I mean, when you can travel light years with a single step, you definitely earn the title of one of the strongest anime characters of all time. So this was a list of the strongest anime characters ever, but what about the weakest? Who do you think is the absolute bottom of the barrel weakest character ever put in anime? Let me know your thoughts below. Thanks for watching CBR.